Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Eddie Jennings from EJSLLC.com. This video is another in my RHCE practice session series where I am preparing for the Red Hat Certified Engineer exam. Before I dive in, I want to thank returning subscribers for watching another video, as well as encourage anyone who's watching who has not subscribed to click that subscribe button and ring the bell when you do so you can be aware when new content comes available. Also, if you enjoy the video, make sure you click like and feel free to share with others that might find the video useful. So in this video, we're going to be looking at the Fax objective under the Understand Core Components of Ansible objective block for RHCE. And I want to remind you that this isn't necessarily intended to be authoritative information, nor is it intended to be a tutorial, but rather it's an opportunity for me to talk about the objective and possibly do some examples and such for it so I can do a self-evaluation. And the idea is at the end of the video, if I feel pretty confident about whatever it is I have spoken or done examples, then if I were to encounter tasks on the RHCE that are related to that particular objective, then I'm probably going to do pretty well with it. On the other hand, if I get to the end of the video and I don't really feel confident about what I have spoken, then that tells me I need to take some time to take a look at it between now and the exam, which is going to be in about a month or so. So Ansible Facts, this is one of the things I think that makes Ansible pretty powerful. And what facts are basically, they end up being variables, but it's stuff that Ansible discovers about a particular managed host. And one module that you can use to gather facts is the setup module. And so let's do this. I'm going to do an Ansible ad hoc command here. We're going to do Ansible. We're just going to do it against one of my lab hosts, and we'll do the module setup, if I can spell. And while we're waiting on that, I just want to remind you that I have kind of a pre-made little Ansible setup here to be able to practice this stuff. So if you were wanting to do kind of my practice session along with what I am doing, note that you'll need to have an inventory file and you'll need to have a little configuration file that says this is where your inventory file is. So if we do the Ansible setup, we get a ton of information back for our particular host, the labrel AN01. And this includes, these are called Ansible Facts, this includes IP addresses, you have information about the current date and time, you have information about various devices that are on, in particular storage devices. You will have information about, let's see, where is it at? Here, it's a little bit further down. You have information about some of your network devices as far as some of the things that they support, in addition to information about IP addressing. There's information about the particular kernel that you're using. There's also information about RAM and how much RAM that you have. One thing to take note of, and this is important, some of these values, such as the Ansible memfree MB, this does not have a quotation mark around the 1419. However, there will be some things such as, let me see if I can find it here, where we are working with, where's it at? All right, so I'm going to do not necessarily the cheating way, but I'm going to output this to setup.txt, and I'm going to grep for what I want. I don't necessarily have to output, I can just grep from that, but this will be a little bit quicker. So we're going to grep dist from setup.txt. There we go. All right, and notice this Ansible distribution version. This has a number, but it has quotation marks around it. And likewise for Ansible distribution major version. These are strings. Even though you have a number, they are strings. And so if you're doing stuff with this as far as needing to do like conditional tests and such, note that that 8 there is not the exact same 8 as what you have here with this Ansible uptime seconds. This is an actual integer versus a string that has a number in it. So one thing to keep in mind there. And these facts can be used for a variety of things. Let's say that I had, let's see, so we have Ansible distribution file for, or Ansible distribution Red Hat. Okay, so just to give you an idea of what you can use some of these facts for, let's make us a little playbook here. This will be testing facts.yml. Now, this is going to go a little bit beyond the scope of what I'm wanting to do, but you'll see where facts can be kind of immediately useful. Let's do I should probably think through names before I make my videos. We'll just do testing facts. And we'll do this against all of the hosts. And don't think I need to become for this, so we'll leave that blank. Tasks, name, and we're going to call this find the Red Hat hosts. And we're going to do good old debug. And the message is, this is a Red Hat host. I'm going to use the when statement. And what I'm going to do here is, I've already forgotten the name of that. Was it Ansible distribution? Yeah. So testing facts. When Ansible distribution equals Red Hat. And then we'll do another task here. Find the non-Red Hat host. Debug. Message. This is not a Red Hat host. When Ansible distribution does not equal Red Hat. All right, so let's see what happens with this playbook here. Now clearly this is not true, so let's see what I did. Oh yeah, so spelling and capitalization count with Linux, so I needed to do that as Red Hat with the R and the H capitalized. But you see the idea here. We use that Ansible fact to where if that fact was equal to a particular string, a particular task is going to fire off. And that I think is one of the most common, or at least for me in my lab and my studying, that's been one of the most common use for facts, is making conditional statements and such. Now, notice that the way I did that variable, it was Ansible distribution. There is another way to express Ansible fact variables, and I'm going to do a little different playbook this time. And let's make another little playbook here. We'll call it fact gather.yml. And this time, just for the sake of argument, I'm going to do kind of a shorthand version. I'm leaving off the name of my playbook. If you just do the host, it'll name the playbook after the host. We're just going to do this against the first host in my lab here. And let's see, I think we don't need anything else. Tasks, you can also do the same thing with tasks. We're going to do debug, var, and we're just going to grab Ansible Facts, and that's it. And I'm going to run this playbook and output that to debug facts.txt. All right, so if I were to do head for setup.txt, and then if I were to do head for debug facts.txt, oh wait, I need to do a little bit more of that. So let me clear my screen and do this again. All right, so setup facts, we'll do head setup. Now I'm going to do head in 20 for debug facts. And there we go. So notice the difference here. We have Ansible Facts, then we have Ansible all IPv4 addresses. Versus the one down here, we have Ansible Facts, and then it's just called all IPv4 addresses. There's a term for this, and I think the name of the term is inline variable. And so what's returned with the setup command are all the Ansible facts, but all of the variables are going to begin with like Ansible underscore and then something, versus the debug gives you Ansible facts, and then these were all like properties, or key pairs of the Ansible facts overall variable. So if you were to want to use this style of calling Ansible facts, you would have something like Ansible facts and then all IPv4 addresses. That would be how you call that variable. So let's put that into practice here. I'm going to copy this just to make life a little bit easier for me. And we'll call it fact test.yml. Testing Ansible facts. Host. We'll just do this against the one lab host. And that needs to be hosts plural, even though we're just doing one host. Tasks. Again, we'll use debug for this. So we're going to do inline variable. I think those are called inline variables. If I'm wrong, feel free to put that in the comments. You know, I want to try to be as accurate as possible. And that variable is just going to be Ansible all IPv4 addresses. And then we're going to do non-inline variable, debug, and this var, we're going to do Ansible Facts all IPv4 addresses. So this should return the same information for both tasks. So let's see what happens. Clear our screen here. Let's see what we get, assuming I haven't typoed anything. Yep, and we got the same value. We have there's only one NIC on this server, and so therefore, you know, we get the same IP address. If I am correct, this is kind of the way Ansible wants things to be done. The idea of the inline variables, it still works. Obviously, you know, you're getting that from the setup module, but I don't know if it's deprecated or if it's like, hey, this is eventually going to go away. Maybe it's not deprecated yet. And so I tend to try to use this version of calling Ansible Facts. I don't think either are wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is what they're wanting kind of for the future. And so when I'm learning something, I try to always learn current and utilize current as much as I can versus legacy and then eventually having to relearn as current. All right, so notice that the facts with this were primarily centered around general system facts like your NICs and storage devices and what distribution that you're running. You can also get facts from other items as well. And one of these is package facts. And there's actually a module, I believe it is actually called package facts. So let's take a look here. Ansible doc-s package facts. Yep, and then what this is going to do is give you the facts about the various packages that are installed on your system. So with Package Manager, you can actually strategy. Let's see. Let me look at this real quick. One of these you can dictate which package manager to use. Otherwise, it just uses the default package manager. Let's take a look at the non-S version of this documentation because I remember that's a thing between this. Yeah, all right, so the manager defaults to auto, and then you can tell it which package manager that we're using. We'll obviously be using RPM for what we have with Red Hat, and strategy, I'm not 100% sure what strategy refers to. And of course, you have some examples with this. So it's actually, I probably should have mentioned this during the variables part, but, well, let me make a playbook here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So package facts.yml, name get package facts, host. Again, we're just going to do this against the one lab server for right now. And we're going to go ahead and become yes tasks. We're going to get the package facts. So we're going to use that package facts module, and we're going to use the register keyword. Now what this means is whatever information is returned by your module, you're going to store it in a variable of this name. And so we're just going to call it pk facts. And then we're going to do a task of show the package facts, debug, and the variable that we want to show is called pk facts because that register told us that we want to, for lack of a better phrase, register all this information into pk facts. Might not have to do this, but I know this will give us what we want. And let's see. Oh, wait, there's a problem. Let's see. Error appears. Syntax problem. -name. All right. Let's look at this. Package facts. So name, host, become, tasks. That looks correct. Name, debug, var. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's going on here. So let's see what it tells us. Thinks it's in line 6. Oh, I misspelled. Maybe I should just read the error message from the top instead of digging into this part here. I misspelled register. All right, so sure you watching the video are like, yeah, Eddie, when are you going to see that you've misspelled register? GIS. Okay. This should work better for us. Okay, so if we were to show the package facts, notice how we have all of the packages on the system and they give us some information about it. So this obviously can be quite useful. You can do, well, you can probably use the yum module for just seeing if a particular package exists. But let's say you needed to run some type of report and you needed to get this information. So notice how, kind of go down the tree here. Let's say that we wanted to get the version of Network Manager. Well, the way that variable would look, it would be pkfax, Ansible Facts, packages, Network Manager, source. So let me copy this here and show you that in action as far as trying to get that particular fact. So I'm going to add a line here. So we wanted just see Ansible Facts. We want packages. We want Network Manager, and we wanted the version. All right. Should give us what we want. Get rid of those lines and let's run it again. Variable not defined. Maybe I had a misspelling there. I'm going to cheat just a bit. Let's open gedit because I still have that on my clipboard. Let's see if I misspelled something. So pkfax, Ansible Facts, I spelled Ansible right, packages, Network Manager, spelled that correctly. That's a list. That's kind of odd. I spelled version correctly. All right, well, let's try this. Let's go back a level. And let's see what we get. All right, so we got Network Manager. Maybe we need to do, just that little bracket there is making me think we have a list. Maybe we need to do something like this. So we'll append 0. Let's see what happens here. Okay, yeah, so there must be an array of items that are under Network Manager. And so we're going to choose 0, and the actual name is Network Manager. So let us go back into our package facts. And now this should return our version. There we go. So there's our version. So that's what was going on. There was actually an array within Network Manager. That's why, you know, looking for your little curly braces and things, that can be significant for you. I believe there is a module for service facts as well. So when in doubt, Ansible doc-l grep I facts. This is going to return a lot of stuff. Yeah, I figured there would be. Where is it at? Is there a yep, there's a service facts. Service facts, I believe, is going to function the same. Let's take a look at the doc real quick. Odd. Service facts, I misspell something. Nope, let's do it without the -s. All right, so when in doubt. All right, let's see. So it's like there's no real options for this. So it works with systemd and upstart. Yeah, so we would just have, okay. I like how you can do that there. So we would not have to actually store that as a registered variable. It just simply becomes a part of your Ansible facts. Okay, well, let's put that to the test here. Let's clear our screen, and we'll call this service fact.yml. We'll get our service facts host. Still just going to do it against the one host. And one of the reasons why I'm just doing the one host is, frankly, just to make this a little bit quicker. So we're going to go and become yes and tasks. And since there's really nothing more happening with that, I'm just going to do the shorthand version of a task for service facts and then show the service facts, debug, var, and we'll do Ansible Facts, service facts. And let's see what we get. All right, that was unexpected. Maybe there's no underscore there. Let's look at the documentation again for service facts. Oh, just services. Yep, well, that would explain it. So let's do our service fact. Might be able to hear the rain. Generally, you don't hear the rain unless it's coming down pretty heavily at my apartment. Because really, if you're hearing this, what you're hearing is like the runoff water. So let's try this again. There we go, and there's all of our services. Looks like I can get some source and state information and such out of that. So we've talked about just the general built-in Ansible facts. We've looked at how to gather facts about packages, how to gather facts about services. You can also create custom facts. So let's see if I can remember how to do this. So let's see. Do I want to do this the Ansible way? Why not? But before I do that, I want to SSH lab rel an01, and I want to ls etc Ansible. You know, that's not going to be there because Ansible is not actually installed on that. So let's go to it in the actual control node here, etc Ansible. All right. You can create custom facts for your managed nodes, and they are stored, if I recall correctly, in a folder called etc Ansible Facts.d. And if I'm right, the name of your file is going to be like the name of the fact, and then it's going to have the information that you want. So let's put this to the test. Well, actually, we'll do this by using a playbook. Again, a little bit ahead of my actual list of objectives, but why not? So we're going to call it create custom facts. And let's do this. All right, so name, create custom facts, and hosts. We're going to do this. I actually made a group called test servers. So we'll do it against that particular group. We are going to have to become because we're going to be writing in the etc directory. And all right, so for our tasks, let's say actually this will be an opportunity to kind of go over a little bit about ways of planning your playbooks on the exam. What I do, and I got this idea from the Sander Van Vuck book, and I agree with it, and probably I'd do this anyway, even if I didn't use that particular book. But let's say we had an objective of make a custom fact. Well, of the tasks, rather than trying to crank out all the tasks at once, I would simply make a list of tasks with the name and then go back and configure what we need. So the first thing that we need to do is create the Fax Directory. After that, we need to create the fax file. All right, so if we make the directory, we're actually going to use the file module for that. And the path is going to be etc Ansible fax. Is it fax.d or fax? I want to think it's fax.d. And the state is going to be directory for that. We're actually going to use the copy module for the file because the copy module will allow you to put some basic content into a file. So we'll do copy content. Oh, you might be able to hear some thunder now. And let's see, for content, this pipe tells us to keep your lines. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we get to some of the modules. And we're going to do, well, I don't know if that's going to work the way that I want. So I want to keep indentation as well. All right, so let's back out of this. We're still going to use the copy module. Odd. Can't open file for writing. Huh, well, not quite sure what is going on there, but we'll copy this and we'll quit. All right, so let's make our fact file. So we're going to call this myfact.fact. And let's do, actually we're going to do a couple of things. We'll do foo. Here's a custom fact, We'll do foo2. Here is another custom fact. Okay, something's going on. Of course, because I'm in a directory that I can't write to. So let's go back to our home directory and go back into fax test, and let's try this again. So foo is going to be equal to here is a custom fact. Foo2 is going to be equal to here is another custom fact. And we'll make the create custom facts.yml playbook and paste in what we had. All right, so this should work a bit better. All right, so copy, we're going to have source is going to be, what do we call the name of that file? myfact.fact. And the destination is going to be Etsy Ansible Facts.d. All right, so let's see if this works. So Ansible playbook. Clearly going too fast because I'm not spelling my stuff right. Create custom fact. Let's see if we get a success here. Made the directory. And we created the file. Okay, so now let's do Ansible. We'll just do this against labrel an03 m setup and go and become with that, and we'll just dump that to setup03.txt. Yeah, error loading fact, please check content. I'll bet that's what I had there. So let us consult, see if there's anything that comes up with this. I didn't think there would be. So that's something I'm going to have to obviously look up and review, or doing custom facts. But I want to think user share Ansible, see if there's, nope, nothing in roles. I don't think that's going to give us what I want. And I don't think collections is going to give us what we want either. So we'll go back home. Ansible doc -l grep ifax. There might be some documentation in here as well. Or actually, let's look at the default configuration file. So vi etsy ansible ansible.cfg, because I think you can dictate where your custom facts are, or where it looks for custom facts. So let's see. So I'm fairly sure about the name, whatever.fact, but I was not as sure about the directory. All right, so I'm being impatient, and we're going to grep instead, of course. So, oh wait. Cat etsy ansible ansible.cfg grep ifact. I guess I was wrong. Gather facts by default. Yeah, you can configure Ansible to not gather facts by default, and I think there's something you can do in a play as well. I think it's gather_facts, yes or no. Grumble. That did not give me the information that I wanted. Maybe I'm wrong about the folder. So fix this via Ansible or not? Nah, for the sake of time, let's SSH rel an01, and we're going to go into Etsy Ansible. Did that not create my directory? Oh, we did it against 3 and 4. That's why. Okay, I think I've realized what I've done. Let me look at my history command. No, we did it on 3. Okay, so let us SSH labrel an03, go into Etsy Ansible. You know, facts.d, I wonder, this might have to be executable. Let's try that. Sudo chmod myfact.fact. Okay, let's try this again. So Ansible labrel an03 m setup, and we're going to send that to setup03.txt. Oh, I need to go into the correct directory. So fax test, and let's run this again. Error loading fact. So when in doubt, -v. So this might give us, odd. I was expecting there to be, okay, so my fact, error loading fact, please check content. Okay, so it did find the my fact file. So this tells me that the problem is the file itself. So the name of the directory was correct, but the issue is with the file. So let's look at my fact.fact. And I want to try changing this to equals instead of a colon. Let's see if we get a different result. Yeah. All right. So clearly I'm going to need to spend a bit more time with that. And that's something that I encourage you as well. You need to be able to do custom facts. Again, there's no way to know if it's actually going to be on the exam, but things like that, in my opinion, tend to be stuff that you would put on an exam, because I can imagine that there would be use cases for doing custom facts. So for this particular video, I would consider myself kind of a half pass. You know, my general understanding of facts I think is decent, but the creation of custom facts, clearly I need to review the syntax for the files for that. So I hope you found this practice session helpful for you. I know it was definitely helpful for me because it identifies something else that I need to review some more before the actual exam. I want to thank again returning subscribers for watching another video and encourage you to subscribe if you haven't. And if you did enjoy this video and found it useful, make sure you click like and feel free to share with others. And also feel free to leave comments, either questions or critique or praise. I welcome it all and will respond as I have both time and ability to do so. Thanks again for taking the time to watch, and I'll see you the next time.